Hey, good morning, welcome back to the channel. So the plan yesterday was to get the all the plumbing trenches backfilled and compacted, get the 6 mil visqueen plastic laid, get all the dirt on top of that, 2.5 inches of dirt, screed out the dirt, compact it nice and flat, and then the plan for today is to get all the structural steel and structural hardware in place. The guys are down here doing that now. So we have all the rebar laid out on the ground right there in 2-foot squares. We marked everything off nice and even so it's nice and clean. The guys are down there hanging steel in all the footings. They're going to be elevating all that today, but the plan is to continue forward with what we're doing here. Get all the steel in place, get all the steel and structural hardware in the footings. Tomorrow we have inspection, which we should pass, but we have to get all this ready by today. We still have to put in the electrical conduit for the electrical stub up. So that's a 3-inch Schedule 40 gray conduit coming up for the electrical sub panel. And then we'll put a couple of 1 inches in there just for expansion in the future in case he wants to run a gate up in the driveway or something like that. So plan for today is to continue on with the structural hardware, get everything in place, get all of our hold downs in place, and then tomorrow, inspection.
Have to see that I didn't do it and tell me specifically that then I would do it.
One key thing you want to remember if you're going to get into contracting, or if you're going to do a project for yourself, or if you're having somebody do a project for you, you want things done as professional as possible. You don't want to have to deal with issues when you're trying to pour a giant foundation. The weight of this concrete is substantial. So we place these wood kickers right here. We place these kickers to keep the concrete from bowing out the forms. So we have these kickers right here. We have them on the inside and on the outside. These are to keep the form from bowing out. That way we maintain a nice straight line. Okay? Kickers work, but sometimes, depending on the size of the footing or the size of the foundation or how high your forms are, if you have like a tall wall that you're building, if it comes loose and you have a blowout, it's almost impossible to push that concrete back. So we put a lot of kickers. We put them every couple of feet, okay? And they work, but they don't work as good as these, okay? This is heavy duty stuff right here to keep these forms in place. These will keep these forms from bowing, all right? The kickers are nice and they do a good job, but compared to this type of equipment right here, this is a very professional job, okay? When we go to frame this house, we don't want crooked walls. We don't want you to be walking down your hallway or your living room and see, you know, a big bow in the wall because we framed it to the concrete foundation and the concrete foundation was bowed out. So we want to keep that nice straight line, use the proper equipment, and you'll end up with a proper job. Okay? These aren't cheap, you know, but they pay for themselves. They pay for themselves in the form of non-issues. They pay for themselves when you don't have to go back when a customer complains. Okay, so to do a proper professional job, use professional equipment. It alleviates a lot of problems. You see, here's our standard hold down, or our standard anchor bolts. Okay, over here are our hold down bolts. See this giant bolt right here? It goes all the way down, has that S shape on the end of it. These are anchor bolts for hold downs. These are HDU 5As that are going here, HDU 5s. So everywhere we have a hold down for a structural wall, or a shear panel, where we have shear panel or shear walls, we have big hardware that holds those walls down. Of course, out here in California, this is for earthquakes, you know, and you guys have hurricane stuff back on the East Coast, and for tornadoes. Honestly, I'd rather deal with the earthquake, but whatever. Anyway, Proper equipment means a proper job and a professional job. Keep it clean, keep it professional, alleviate problems. Morning, welcome back to the channel. So the plan yesterday was to get this foundation completed for inspection that's happening today between 10 and 11. So we were putting in all the structural steel in the footings, putting all the rebar down, tying it all together, placing all the structural hardware, making sure there's no dirt in the footings, making sure the rebar is 2.5 to 3 inches away from any soil. That plan went off great. Everything is done. Today's plan is to pass inspection, which is happening between 10 and 12. We'll pass our inspection, and then the plan for tomorrow morning is to pour that foundation. So far, we're moving right along. Everything's going great. We're about a little over a week and a half into this from the time when we first chalked this out. So we're gonna pour this foundation in the morning. They're expecting temperatures of 111, 112. That's what I'm hearing. So we're gonna start at 5 in the morning. Okay, so the inspector just pulled out. Everything is a go. Signed off the card, gave us permission to go ahead and pour tomorrow. Some of the things that he was looking at was to make sure all of our structural steel was where it's supposed to be. It's not touching any soil. Everything is elevated using the concrete dobies. There's no dirt in the footings. Our electrical conduit is in place for our electrical stub up for our panel. And he gave us permission to go ahead and pour. So we're gonna be pouring here tomorrow at 5 a.m. So that's it. We've already submitted our lumber list for all of our lumber, so we're gonna get lumber dropped here, and then as soon as this concrete foundation sets for a little bit, we're gonna start framing this house. Hit the subscribe channel. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you can learn something from this project that will help you with your project.